Okay, problem number two. We've done many systems of equations at this point, and I'm going to say there's really the techniques. There's not many, although Wells covers a variety of procedures. I'm going to, go with what I think is the simplest. But again, you may disagree with that. I do want to point out, I noticed just by looking at this over here, there's an error there. I got to correct that. But anyway, what does it say? It says solve the second equation for x. So I want to point out this is the second equation, and I want to go through that with you, solving for x. How would you do that? Let me go over here. And we're just working through the key at this point. And if you solve that for x, you get 2xy equals y squared minus 24. And then you divide both sides by 2y. And what would you get? You get x equals y squared minus 24 over 2y. And that's right over here. So I met that milestone, and that's a good milestone to meet. Let me get my eraser out, and I feel comfortable with that. And this, for me, if I didn't understand the problem, I'd be looking at the key and saying, do I understand that step? And then what I would do, I would take this x and substitute it into the first equation. And what's the first equation? It's x squared. So again, remember this is x. So this is x squared. And then what's the second term? It would be 3xy. So that's 3. This is the x, that's the y, it equals minus 5. Now this is the part where a lot of students are going to get struggle with, all right? So what I want to do is I'm going to go to the whiteboard to do this particular expansion. Now again, the way in which you do it may be different than the way I do it, but the bottom line is the outcome should be the same. All right, so I'm going to go to the whiteboard, and I'm going to do that on the whiteboard. I got to get the whiteboard open. So let me delete this whiteboard, get a fresh one. Let me expand it, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do now. And what I'm going to do over here, make sure I got my pen out. I do. I'm going to do that simplification, and that's going to be y squared minus 24 over 2y, quantity squared, and then what do you have here? Plus 3. I'm just copying, by the way, y squared minus 24 over 2y, I get a y, and that equals minus 5. All right, now someone says, what would you do here? Well, I'm going to start to square it. All right, so if I do that, what do you get in top? You get y4, and you get minus 24, which is minus 48, y squared. And now you got to do 24 squared, right? 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 2 is 8, that's 9. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4. You get 6, 17, 576. Over 4y squared. Let's do the next term. Plus, well, what I notice over here, the y cancels off like right away. So I'm going to put a 2 here. And what do you get there? 3y squared minus, well, 3 times 20 is 60, and 12, 72. And this equals minus 5. All right? Now what am I going to do? I'm going to multiply both sides by the LCD. What's the LCD? The LCD now is 4y squared. So I'm going to get y4 minus 48 y squared plus 5, 7, 6. Then comes a problem over here. I got to take the second term and multiply by 4y squared, but a 2 cancels, so I got 2y squared now. So what's that going to give you? That's going to give you 6y4 minus 144. Right, 144. I got to be careful here. Minus 144y squared. Then what do you get? Minus 20 y squared. All right, I got more work to do. By the way, I'm trying to hit a milestone at this point. I'm not there yet. I'll go back to the notes in a second. So what do you get over here? 7y to the 4th power. That's pretty easy, right? And let's see. I got to do these 3 guys over here. And let me kind of do that like one at a time. And the way I do arithmetic might look different than the way you do arithmetic. Let me get my eraser out. I'll start to erase this nonsense over here. I don't need the LCD anymore. Let's see if there's anything else I don't need. This up here. Try and need that page, you know? Well, I'm losing track here, aren't I? So let's put this down. 48 and 144. Let's see, 8 and 4 is 12. 9, 192. So it's going to be minus 172 now. Again, I took 20 from that, and I just looking at the numbers, I know it's 172. Minus 172, y squared. Oh boy, plus 576, right? And that equals 0. All right, so what I'm going to recommend you do after you do all that, again, you may be horrified by that, but at least you got to that milestone, which is 7 y to the 4th minus 172 y squared plus 576. So if you look in your notes, this is one of the milestones here. That's a good place to get. Then, of course, what do you have? You got trouble. And I want to tell you what the troubles are. The troubles are your belief that this may be factorable. So I'm going to say 7y squared. Y squared. By the way, if this does not work, I've got to use a quadratic formula, which I don't want to go near because the arithmetic is going to kill me. And I'm looking at that 576. And I'm trying to think about it. And I think I see something. $400, 160, and 16. Yeah, I'm going to try it. 144. Because otherwise it'd be way too big, right? And a 4 here. All right? And again, I got to go slow. I'm not good at arithmetic. That's number one reason why. Okay, the product has to be positive, but the internal sum negative. Let's put that down. All right, keep your fingers crossed, see if it works out. I know the 144 times 4 is 576. But let's see what we get over here. You get 144, and 7 is 28. That's 2. Let's see, 7. Yeah, works beautifully. So what do you got? You got an answer now. Let's write this down. Y equals plus or minus 2. And this one over here, y squared, would be 144 over 7. And y would equal plus or minus 12 over root 7. All right, don't celebrate too much at this point, because what we have to do is we've got to do something with this. And someone says, what do you have to do with this? I have to get x from these numbers, and this could be a problem for me. So what's x? Well, I think I know what x is. Let me write this over here. I think x is, if I did not mistaken, is y squared minus 24 over 2y. All right, let's give it a shot. Let's try y as 2 first. And what do you get? X would be equal to 2 squared is 4. 4 minus 20 is 4 minus 24 is minus 20. And if y is 2, this would be 4, so this would be minus 5. All right, that's done. Let's try another one. Let's try minus 2 now. What would x be? Well, you still get minus 20 on top, but on bottom now you get minus 4. That would give you 5. So I'm going to say these are pretty simple to come up with. Now, granted, if I was really retentive, I'd go back to the original system and check it. All right, so that's done. I got that done. All right, so one of the answers is minus 5, 2. We'll check the key later, by the way, and 5 minus 2. I'm going to try to do the other ones now. And how do you do that? Well, I'm going to take y to be 12 over root 7. And I got to plug it in. And where do I plug it in? Right over here. It's much more nightmarish. There's no doubt about it. So what do you get over here? 144. Again, we're plugging it in here. Let me highlight that for you. we're using this to get our x, right? That's what we're using. And that's a hellish number, isn't it? So you get 144 over 7 minus 24. And we're going to divide by twice the y, which is 24 over root 7. All right? That's a lot of work, isn't it? I want to remind you, I'm not opposed to using calculators, and that's up to you. So you get 24 root 7. Let's see, what's 7 times 24? 140 and 28, right? So 168. And take 144 from that. That's 424, right? So you get minus 24 over 7. Things are shaping up a little bit. And let me write that down for you. So you get minus 24 over 7 times root 7 over 24. Well, isn't that convenient? What do you get? Minus root 7 over 7. Well, you know what? The other one's going to be minus 12 root 7. And I got the same top number, but the bottom number is going to be negative now. So we're going to go over here. I'll get root 7 over 7. I'm just going to clean those up a tiny little bit. And I'm going to write this as minus root 7. We'll look at the key later, by the way, over 7, comma, 12 root 7 over 7. I just did this one. This would be root 7 over 7 minus 12 root 7 over 7. And I'm going to commit to these answers over here. Let me look at the notes. And what did they say? I see that answer. That was an easy one, though. I see this answer. That's good. Do I see this? Yes. 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 They also provide a picture. And at one point, if you look at the picture, what are you seeing over there? You're seeing 4 points of intersection, as we expect to see, these 4 points. And by the way, it's a fairly accurate graph. I'm going to switch screens now and point out what I mean by this. If you took your ruler out and I looked at this point over here, that's where x is 5, right? And what's the y looking at that? Looks about minus 2. And we wrote that down, 5 minus 2. Let's look at this one over here. It's not a bad, I'm using a ruler to do that. It looks like the x is minus 5 and the y is going to be 2. Whoops, sorry about that. Yeah, about 2. So minus 5, 2, and I'm seeing that. I'm seeing both of these answers over here. Now, I got to be honest with you. The other one's probably going to need a calculator to approximate those things. But just to give you an idea over here, that this point over here is root 7 over 7 for x. And then the y-coordinate here, and again, feel free to use a calculator, is going to be minus 12 root 7 over 7. And again, if you did this point up here, the y-coordinate there would be 12 root 7 over 7. And if you did the x-coordinate, and this one over here would be negative, just looking at it, and that would be minus root 7 over 7. They're not bad numbers, by the way. However, I'll be honest with you, I did not graph this by hand. I graphed it using a computer. And you should pay attention to that. Thank you.